Hola, buenos dias. Today we are going to be talking about indirect object pronouns, and we're just going to do a short review of IDOPs. So if we remember, what does an IDOP do? Sometimes I call them IOPs. Most of the time I call them IDOPs. So an IDOP is an indirect object pronoun, and that answers the question to whom or for whom about the verb. So your IDOP is always going to be a person, okay? So our IDOP chart is the same thing as our Gustar chart. So you've got me, te, le, nos, os, les. Okay, so it is for whom or to whom the action is done. And so like I give the card to her. To whom am I giving the card? To her. Okay. Le or lace can indicate multiple people. Usually we need to add clarification in the form of with a person. And you can use with a person for the me, te, like a mí or a ti or a nosotros or a vosotros. And when you do that, it just adds extra emphasis to it. Like, oh, you got that card for me? You gave that card to me? But you don't have to use the with the person with the me, te, nos, or os. With le and lace, you do need to add the clarification there because it can refer to multiple people. And so it'll look like I gave the card to her, if I'm specifying to, like, I gave the card to my mom, to her. Yo le di la tarjeta a mi mamá. So it's like I gave it to her. But that's okay because that's the way the language works. You do have to have that with a person, and you have to include your me, te, le, nos, os, les. Okay, IDOPs follow the same rules as far as pronoun placement as every other pronoun. So the same thing as your reflexive, same thing as your direct object pronouns. So with one verb, it has to be placed directly before the conjugated verb. With two verbs, it can be placed directly before the conjugated verb or attached to the end of the second verb. If the second verb is in the ando or iendo form, you have to add an accent to the last syllable of the verb, which is the A in ando or the E in iendo. I don't think there's going to be any that you have to do that with on the test, but just to be aware that that's what you would do. Okay, so we're going to do activity 22 on page 199. So here it is. So you're going to tell what your aunt used to buy for each person, and you're going to use an indirect object pronoun. So if we look at the model, por lo general, in general, ella le compraba una corbata a mi padre. So in general, she would buy a tie for my dad. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing with all of these. Okay, so for my mom, a shirt. For my siblings, my younger siblings, teddy bears. For me, socks. Watch for her husband. A train for my cousins. And candy for us. Okay? So when you're done, or go ahead and hit pause, and then when you're done, we'll go over the answers. All right. Number 1. Por lo general, mi tía le compraba una blusa a mi madre. And you could put una camisa. I don't care. Okay. So in general, my aunt used to buy a blouse for my mom. Since it's for my mom, we have to put the le in here. Or rather, since we have the le, we have to clarify who that le is by adding a mi madre. Number 2, mi tía les compraba osos de peluche a mis hermanitos. Because our IOP is lace, we have to add this clarification. My aunt used to buy teddy bears for my younger siblings. Number 3, mi tía me compraba calcetines. My aunt used to buy socks for me. You could put a me here at the end, but we don't need to. That would just add extra emphasis. Number 4, mi tía le compraba un reloj pulsera a su esposo. My aunt used to buy a watch for her spouse, and since it's le, we have to add this clarification. Number 5, mi tía les compraba un tren eléctrico a mis primos. So since we have les, I have to add the clarification. And even though it looks repetitive in Spanish, you do have to have both. Okay? And on number 6, mi tía nos compraba dulces. My aunt used to buy candies for us. Okay, on your chapter test, the section over IDOPs is going to look like this, but then you're going to have a blank here, and you're going to have to be able to look for your with your person and then figure out which IDOP you would use in the blank. Okay, and there are 6 of them. We have 6 IDOPs. Just a thought. Okay, when you have multiple pronouns, because you do tend to use indirect object pronouns and direct object pronouns together, you have to use the order RID, which stands for reflexive, indirect, direct. And so if you have a direct and an indirect object pronoun, you're going to put the indirect first and then the direct object pronoun afterwards. When you have an IDOP and a DOP in the same sentence, you cannot lay low. And what I mean by that is you can't have 2 pronouns that start with L right next to each other. So you'll change the first one to say. And that doesn't, and whether it's lay or lace, you just change that to say. Okay, so if I said my cousins gave them, and them are socks, to her every year, so it would be mis primos, and dieron would be my verb. Okay, and then I would say los in the middle. So my DOP would be los for the socks. My IDOP would be lay, but I can't lay los. I can't lay low, so I can't have 2 L's next to each other. So I'm going to change my lay to a say. So that's going to go in between my 2 verbs. Mis primos, le los daban cada año. That's what it would look like without it. So I'm going to take out the lay, change it to say. Mis primos se los daban cada año. My cousins would give them to her every year. Okay. Again, not something that you're going to be quizzed on or tested on, but this is, an FYI, like in case you're reading and you see it, that's what that is. That's an indirect object pronoun with a direct object pronoun. Okay, so let's go back to this activity and let's rewrite it. I guess I could go here. Let's rewrite these sentences using 2 direct object pronouns or 2 pronouns. So now instead of saying, in general, my aunt would give a blouse to my mom, say she would give it to her. Okay. So I'll leave this up here for a minute, hit pause, and then when you're done, go back and hit play. So again, we're going to replace the lay and the lace with say, and then we're going to put a direct object pronoun in between your IDOP and your verb. Okay, let's see how we did. So por lo general, mi tía se la compraba a mi madre. So in general, my aunt would buy it for her. Okay. Mis tías se los compraba a mis hermanitos. My aunt would buy them for them. Mi tía me los compraba. My aunt would buy them for me. Mi tía se lo compraba a su esposo. My aunt would buy it for him. Mi tía se lo compraba a mis primos. My aunt would buy it for them. And mi tía nos los compraba. My aunt would buy them for us. Okay. If you have any questions about indirect object pronouns, let me know. There's more practice on a worksheet that I'm going to be assigning with this. And section C is what your quiz is going, or what the section on your test is going to look like. Okay, if you need any help, please let me know. Adios. Have a great day.